Hi everyone, welcome to QAWithSJ channel. In today's video, we are going to discuss test design techniques. So these test design techniques are very useful when you are developing a test cases manually. So based on these techniques, you can develop more test cases and it will give you some ideas how to develop the test cases. So there are five test design techniques. The first one is boundary value analysis, equivalence partitioning, decision table technique, and state transition technique, and then error guessing technique. Okay, so these are mainly used, and this is very important thing to understand, and you will get this question in my interview questions also. Okay, so what is a boundary value analysis? So basically the name itself, you can see uh, the boundary, based on the boundary values will write a test cases. Okay, let's take an example of phone pay. Okay, so let's take an example of phone pay. Now in the phone pay we have input field, right? Like amount is the input field. Now it accepts 1 rupee to 1 lakh. It doesn't accept more than 1 lakh or less than 1, right? So now it has accept two values, right? One is 1 rupee, I mean 1 to 1 lakh rupee, right? So it has two limits. Lower limit is 1 rupee and upper limit is 1 lakh. Now the boundaries are 1 rupee and 1 lakh. So the test cases are written. So test case 1 would be test with below boundary, lower limit below and lower limit boundary after. So test with, so now the lower limit boundary, what is the value? 1 rupee, right? Then you have to test with 0, that is test case 1. Then test case 2 would be test with 1, and test case 3 would be test with 2. Now the test case 4 would be based on upper boundary limit. It's 1 lakh rupee, right? So before that 1 lakh, what was the value? So test with 99. So test with 99k, right? And test case 5 would be test with 1 lakh. And test case 6 would be test with 1 lakh 1 rupee, right? So now total how many test cases we got to test this amount field? Let's suppose there is an amount field, you want to test that and you have to write test cases for that, right? So now we got around 6 test cases. So how we have written? We have written these test cases based on the boundaries. So this particular amount input field accepts amount of 1 rupee to 1 lakh. So the boundaries we know 1 rupee and 1 lakh. So before the 1 rupee and after the 1 rupee, before the 1 lakh and after the 1 lakh, including 1 and 1 lakh. Now if you could see this, uh, uh, we have written these test cases based on the boundaries. So this is what we can call it as boundary value analysis. Okay, now if you could see this here, we have tested with 1 rupee, 2 rupee and 99k and 1 lakh. So 1 rupee and 1 lakh are the boundary values, and 2 rupees and 99,000 is also in between 1 and 1 lakh, right? Then there is no point in testing with 2 rupees and 99k and 1 and 1 lakh. All these would be a kind of a kind of redundant test, right? So here what would be the technique we have used? So boundary value analysis technique, right? So when it accepts 1 and 1 lakh, there is no point in testing with 2. I mean, already we have tested with 1 and 1 lakh. Then there's no point in testing with 2 and 99k, right? So just to overcome this boundary value analysis technique, this is where equivalence partitioning technique comes into the picture. So the name itself is giving equivalence class partitioning. So we'll partition the test cases in different ways like valid and invalid. Okay, Now let's see this here for the same thing. Okay, for the same input field, now we will use it. What was the technique we will use it now? Equivalence partition. So this is what? This is an advancement of boundary value analysis. Okay, now we know the phone pay amount input accepts one rupee, and the highest one is 1 lakh. So what is the test case one? Valid. What is the valid one? Any value between 1 and 1 lakh rupee. So this is valid case, right? Valid test. Now the next test case would be any value before 1 rupee, and test case 3 would be any value after 1 lakh. That's it. Now these three test cases are enough. Now if you could see this, we are testing the same input field with two different techniques. Okay, now we have optimized the test cases. Earlier it was 6 test cases. Now it becomes 3 test cases. Valid, and these two are invalid, right? Invalid, and test case 3 also invalid. So here we have reduced the redundancy and we have optimized the tests. So just to uh, just to reduce this ambiguity, that's where equivalence partition testing technique comes into the picture. It's advancements of boundary value analysis technique. So the name itself, equivalence partition. So we'll divide these boundaries into equivalent partitions, and based on that we'll write the test cases. That's what the equivalence partition technique. So the next technique is decision table technique. So some are the other way, when someone asks you to write the test cases to test the input field, when they give condition like it will access 1 lakh rupee, based on your common sense, you can write some test case like I will test with 1 rupee, 1000 rupees, 10,000 and 1 lakh rupee, 0, -1 and 1 lakh 1 rupees, how it is behaving, right? We can do that, but internally we are using these techniques. Okay, at the end of the day we are doing testing, and we are for the testing we are writing the test cases. But if you write test cases like this, then they have given name called boundary value analysis. When you write test cases like this, the name would be equivalence partition technique. When you test like this, then it is decision table technique. Let's discuss decision table technique. Okay, let's suppose there is a order creation form. There is an application where you will be logged in and you have to create an order. It has multiple fields, like first name. You have to enter your first name and last name, middle name, product name, like which product you want to add it, you can add it, and then how much quantity you want to buy or purchase, and you have to provide address and phone number and email, Aadhaar, PAN and alternative phone number. Let's suppose whatever the fields you are seeing here in red mark required, these are required, and the remaining you can see on the top as optional, those are optional. So for this form you have to test this particular functionality. As a tester, what you will do and how you will write a test cases, right? So let's see the test case 1. So what I will do, I know which are all required fields and I know which are all optional fields. So I will provide value, yes. I will provide value, yes, and here also yes. Okay, and since these are all required fields, I will provide yes, I will provide yes, yes. Okay, and the remaining all fields I don't provide. Okay, since those are optional. Now my first test case would be, I will just test this particular form by providing only required fields. Then what is the end goal? Click on create order, right? Then it will create order because you have entered all the required fields. Then you will test this particular application order creation form with all these values. Then you will check the behavior. That is your test case one. Now you will test the same functionality in different manner. What I will do, I will create yes here, yes, okay. Again I will make it as no, okay, yes, yes. Then address also I will provide. Now in this case phone number I don't give, intentionally don't give. Then all these are same, okay. Then what will happen? Once you click on create order, you will get error message. You will get error message saying phone number is phone number is required, right? So then what you will do? You will validate this particular error message whether it correctly popping up or not. Now what would be the test case 3? Now what I will do, I will provide all the details. Now instead of phone number, I will my bad, one second. Let me copy all of this. Instead of phone number, now don't give address. Okay, I will mark this as no. Now I will give S here. Then what was the expected error message? Address. Address is required. Then you have to validate whether it is popping up correctly or not. What might be a test case for? I will give address, okay, but this time I don't give quantity. I don't give quantity, right? So let me highlight what exactly we are not giving here, so that you will understand. Okay. This time I'm not giving this. This time I'm not giving this. Okay. Now this is test case 4. This time what I will do, maybe this time I will give this quantity, but I don't give what? Product name. Okay. Then what is the message you will get it here? Since you didn't give quantity, quantity is required. Okay. Then here you might get a message like please select product name, something like this. So you have to validate. So like this, and in some other case what I will do, I will give all these required fields and I don't give only alternative phone number. I will give everything till here. Okay, all are S. So my test case 5 would be all are S. This would be no. Okay, this would be no this time. Then how it is behaving? So still, even if you don't provide alternative phone number, still it should be able to create order because it's an optional field. So like this, based on this table, you will be writing the test cases. So this is what we can call it as decision table technique. I hope you are clear with this. So like this, you will write it, you will generate, you will develop a test cases. Okay. So the next one technique would be state transition technique. So you provide some inputs, then how it is behaving, right? Then we can call it as state transition technique. Let's suppose you have to check, uh, maybe you have to check some ATM related functionalities. Okay, now you have started it. Now you have entered correct pin and all the details. Okay, let's take an example. Pin is the example here. Okay, so you have entered all the details and correct pin, then you will get the amount. Now in the first try what you did, you have entered incorrect pin. Then what will happen now? The state would change from, in the first try you got you got the amount, but for the first time you have entered incorrect pin, then task for the then you will be able to enter, it will just give some error message incorrect pin, then you have entered correct pin. Then what happened? You will get the amount. Now for the first time you have entered wrong pin, for the second time you have entered wrong pin. Okay, then again you have entered correct pin, then you will get the amount, right? Now again you have tried for the first time incorrect pin, second time incorrect pin, then third time also incorrect pin, then account will be blocked. So based on the input you have changed, the behavior of the application is getting changed. This is called state transition technique. Okay. Now if you could see here, I'm searching, this is an input box. Now if you want to test this particular search box, then how will you test? You will test with some proper product names. This is the product name, then we are getting the same. And you will test with numbers, some numbers. So what we are using? So boundary value analysis or equivalence partitioning or our state transition technique, we can call it anything. Now you can see these numbers are matching somewhere, right? That's the reason we are getting it. Let's give some numbers including special characters. Let's see. Sorry, no result form. This is expected, right? And let's give some ABC including some special characters. Then still we are not able to get it. Let me give Apple 8000 something. I mean some string and numbers. Then we got, because this particular part of this feature was already matched with Apple. That's the reason we got the Apple related products. This is valid case. So that's how you have to write the test cases. Okay. So the next technique is error guessing technique. So it requires understanding of the application and experience. So based on your experience, you will be guess the errors. Okay, this we can call it as exploratory technique also. Okay, so let's suppose there is an application. You know, when you hit enter, after enter username and password, when you uh, based on your experience, you don't need to always click on login button, right? You can simply hit enter. In such cases also it should work, right? And there is a form. If you don't enter a required field, then you will get some error. That is also based on experience, right? And you have created an order, then obviously order history, in order history it should display the results, right? So whether it, you can check it whether it is uh, getting the data history or not, order history or not in the order history page. So based on the experience you will just guessing the error. In this case you might get the error. Some monkey testing, like whatever we did here, right? We are searched with multiple data, right? Strings, special characters, strings and numbers, only numbers, strings and special characters, then how this is behaving. Some monkey testing, some random behavior we are testing. So that's all we can call, uh, you know uh, call it as error guessing also, right? So based on all of these techniques, if you write test cases, you can come up with a good test cases count and the good test cases coverage. Okay, so this is how we can leverage test design techniques while you are developing test cases. So this is all about the test design techniques. Just to summarize, we have boundary value analysis, equivalence partitioning, and then decision table technique, state transition technique, and error guessing. So in boundary value analysis, there are boundaries. So before the boundary will provide value, boundary value, and after the boundary. And in the upper, before the upper value, and then after the upper value. Then we are getting around 6 test cases here. Like if we take an example of one pay for 1 rupee to 1 lakh, right? So just to address this boundary value analysis technique, equivalence comes into the picture. With 3 test cases we are able to finish the test cases. So we optimize the test cases. So here we mostly focus on valid and invalid cases. Okay, valid and invalid cases. And the next one is decision table techniques. So if you have multiple fields, few are required, few are optional, then based on which values you want to provide, which value you don't want to provide. So like that, if you uh, write the test case based on this table, then you can call it as decision table technique. Based on the input, if the behavior of the application changes, then we can call it state transition techniques. So this is, we can call it as error guessing techniques. Based on your experience, you will guess the error and you will test it, and you can check it whether it is working as expected or not. I hope you're clear. Thanks for watching.